Okay, Brother Kadash, giving all praises to Yahweh. Straight into the video. Of course, you got pyramids on your screen. And this is just something that I've been meditating on. And I want to kind of just do more videos when I'm in the spirit. I don't want to do videos to just put out a certain number of videos. You know what I mean? I be seeing guys making videos about boxing. You in the truth and you making a video about a boxing match or videos about street stuff. It's like, bro, this has to actually be biblical. But I've been seeing that for years, you know what I mean? But I just don't want to be that myself. And that's been my whole journey in the truth. It's just seeking for the truth, not what man tell you, not doctrines of men, not feelings, but seeking the actual truth. And that's why I've been going the way I've been going and the journey I've been going. Now, the pyramids on your screen, it's just there to represent Exodus, the book of Exodus, because I found myself asking myself the question of, like, why do people come in this truth and do the things they do? And how do we actually get free from this system? I see a lot of brothers come into this walk of ours, Hebrew Israelites, come into this truth, and they go back into the world, right? But what I like to do is I like to see things from different perspectives so I can get more knowledge of everything. So I used to blame brothers by going back into the world and leaving this, but now I can't blame brothers because, first off, the community is straight bullshit. Most people in it that become leaders, they really only doing it to make money. You see what I'm saying? And then, like, we hold these standards on people that you got to keep the law, statutes, commandments. You can't celebrate, like for example, you can't celebrate holidays. Now, me, myself, I have no desire to celebrate a holiday. I don't give a fuck about a holiday, but that's always been my personality. But I see other people that I was close with that went back into the world and they start celebrating holidays. And first thing I thought was, damn, he ain't even following the Lord no more. Damn, he going off. Damn, he went back in the world. But then I try to think of it from a different, I try to think of it from his perspective. And then I said, well, the motherfuckers that's claiming to be in the truth, they not following the laws. They not following the truth. You see what I'm saying? They doing it for money. So it's like, can I really condemn him when these same motherfuckers that's in the truth, they all wicked? And the elders and the leaders leading all the way back to One West, they would say, all wicked. So I started to try to understand, right? And I heard this saying, they said, look, you ain't got to celebrate Christmas, but you're still celebrating it no matter what, because you're American, and Christmas is an American holiday, and America as a whole is celebrating it. So you personally might not be celebrating it, but you are the American, so America as a whole is celebrating. And I had to think about that. And then that made me think about the Bible, of course. And I said, whoa, so that makes sense. That's the reason why. Because like my journey in the truth led me back to Exodus. Everything I ever learned, everything I ever went through in the truth led me back to Exodus. How do my people get free? Exodus gives you the exact example of how we get free from Esau and America, Babylon. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to come together and leave because they love that American dollar. They love the being in the first world country, a powerful country, the safety of this country. You got to give Esau some credit, but this system, see, people take things for granted. See, I travel around the country, so I could see the design of the country. I could see the intelligence in the highway system. You can't take that for granted. Some of these other countries don't have highway systems like America that allow you to get in your car and travel to Atlanta if you want to, or drive to New York, or drive back to Chicago, or drive to Cali. You could do that in America. That's a luxury. That's a privilege. Some of these roads you have to pay money, tolls, to drive on them. Those are privileges, right? For you to be able to hop on a flight for a couple $100 and fly wherever you want in the United States. That's a privilege. For you to hop on a plane and boom, you pop up in Miami, you on the beach. That's a privilege. People don't understand that. Stoplights, having stoplights so you don't run a light or you know, you have intersection collision. Those are privileges, man. So we hate the system, but do we really hate the system? Because it look like our people love this system. Ain't nobody talking about leaving. Ain't nobody talking, hey man, we leave. Esau to open the doors. So us being here, being in captivity, we can't blame it on Esau to this day. We got to blame it on us now because we choose to be here. Say, well, he got us in mental slavery and physical slavery. The doors is open. Esau fucking, I'm talking about the tribes as a whole, Esau is deporting the tribes out. And the Negroes, which are the Judites, is sitting here like, oh yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with us. Yeah, deport them, deport the other Israelites, the other tribes, the Mexicans, any Spanish, Latinas, Somalis, Haitians, and yeah, yeah, deport them. We good, we here. Nigga, they opening the doors to let people leave, but we don't want to leave. We love it here. So that made me start thinking about the book Exodus, the story Exodus. How many, if that was to happen today, how many people would leave? None. Because the elders would preach against it. They would be the ones preaching, no, you can't leave. That's the flee Babylon. That's the flee Babylon doctrine. They'll be going against it if it happened today. No, we gotta wait. The Lord's gonna come back and get us. And then I started looking at it and I said, look, now on the other hand, if the Lord wanted us to do that, but even if the Lord wanted us to unite, because that's what we're missing is unity, the Lord would give somebody power to do it. And that power would be undeniable and everybody will follow that man like they did with Moses. We don't have that being done today. So on one hand, can you blame the people that go back into the world and start to be a regular American? Can you blame them? Because if the Lord wanted us to do different, then he would give us the power to. He would give us leaders with power to unite. We don't have no leaders like that with power to unite. We got guys that get a camp, get a couple man, get a YouTube, and start making money and become content creators. That's what we have. We don't have real leaders. So that's some of the things I've been dealing with. But going back to the story Exodus, right? I'm gonna get a verse. What was asked? Moses said, let my people go. The Lord said that. So they could go serve their Lord. That was Moses' mission. Moses didn't say, oh, y'all need to try to keep. The Lord didn't give Moses the law, statutes, commandments, and then say, okay, while y'all in captivity, attempt to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Because it was not going to happen. And that goes back to the analogy I gave with the Hebrew Israelites. You could say you don't celebrate holidays all day long, but you hear the country, you're an American and it's an American holiday. You still get work off, most of us. You still gonna see Christmas trees. You still gonna hear the Christmas songs. You still gonna see Christmas hats and ugly sweaters. You gonna say, oh, I'm not involved, I'm not celebrating it, but you still around it. You still see it. The spirit is here in America of it. You see what I'm saying? When this is New Year, guess what? I don't see Hebrew Israelites saying, oh, it's still 2025 right now. No, I see Hebrew Israelites saying it's 2026. They upload their videos, they put whatever it is, January 2026. So that's them acknowledging it's the new year. Because if not, then they'll wait till Passover time, March, April. And then they'll wait till that time to start saying it's 2026. But no, they saying that it's 2026 because they acknowledging that it's a new year. You see what I'm saying? Because you forced to because you're American. But it goes back to the story Exodus. Moses was never saying, oh, y'all keep the law, statutes, commandments while y'all in captivity. Stop following the Egyptians' holidays and stuff like that. Even though we was kind of like a set aside people and we were in slavery, enslaved. The goal was We had to get away from the Egyptians to be able to actually serve our Lord. What comes with serving our Lord? Keeping the law, statutes, commandments, following our high holy days and not their holidays. There had to be a separation from the Egyptians to be able to do that. And that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing today with America. For us to keep the law, statutes, commandments, there has to be a separation. Now, what we always used to say, we're rehearsing the righteous acts. That's what we used to always say. It's just a rehearsal. Brothers told me straight up, man, you ain't got to keep the Passover, but we keep it, because we just rehearsing the righteous act. And I feel that, and I do understand that. Now, some brothers may respond and be like, no, there is going to be a separation, but we have to wait for the separation to happen when we're took into the wilderness, like Ezekiel, I think chapter 20 says that's going to happen. We have to wait for that time to happen when the Lord does send us somebody, a leader, to lead us out of America and separate us in the wilderness, right? And then we're going to be separated from it, and then we're going to be able to follow the Lord. But you can't have it both ways. It's either that's going to happen, and then you're going to be required to follow the Lord, and then that's when you're going to be judged. Or like some brothers say, no, you have to follow the Lord and the law, statutes, commandments right now while we're in captivity. If you don't, then you're going to be judged. It has to be either or. I'm moving to the point of saying, I'll say it this way. You can't keep the full law in captivity. You can keep parts of it. But a person may say, what's the point of keeping parts of it if you can't keep the full law? Because if you keeping parts of it, but you going off on certain parts, and then I'm not keeping it, then we both in the same boat, because you still going off and I'm still going off. You just keep some of it. The stuff that's easy for you to keep to the best of your abilities, we say. So if you really real, and see that, I start asking myself the question, I'm like, who is really real about this? And I started looking around at the different camps, and every camp I thought about, I was like, nah, they not really real about this. And you want to know how I judge, me personally judged if they was really real about this? You real about something if you would die for it or kill for it. That's how I know that you serious about something. If you won't die for it or kill for it, shut up. You see what I'm saying? Like, a man's serious about his family, because most of us, if we got family, I'll say most of us will die for and kill for our family. That's how you know that that's serious right there. That's serious for a man, because he would die for and kill for his kids. He would die for and kill for his wife. He would die for and kill for his parents. Those are things that's like off limits. That's something that's like, to a man, most of us is like, okay, this is the serious stuff over here. You could do all this goofy shit. You could talk about me on the internet. Don't fuck with this right here, and we good. Because that's serious. For some man, it be about money. Some man, it be about jewelry. Some man, it be about their cars. You see what I'm saying? But for most of us, it's our family. That's something you serious for. And how do I know you're serious for your family? Because you would die for them and you would kill for them. And so I started looking around at these different groups. I'm like, man, who's serious about this? Who would die for and kill for this truth? I can't point at none. They don't even want to leave America. They love the money too much. They love the lifestyle too much. They won't say it, but that's the truth though. See, the Ukrainians, they dying and killing for what they believe in they little small land that really belongs to Russia, but they little small land. But they dying for it. They know they can't win that, but they dying and killing for it. The Palestinians, they in Israel right now. They dying and killing for that little strip. They know they outnumbered. They know they can't beat Israel, and then they know damn well they can't beat America. They've been getting bombed. Their city is basically bombed down to the ground. I don't even know if it's any buildings really standing. But guess what? Even to this motherfucking day, they still fighting for what they believe in. Even the Edomites, what are they doing? They killing. They'll die and they'll kill for what they believe in. But when it comes to niggas, when it comes to the Hebrew Israelites, we just pray. We just fool. We don't want to die for nothing. We don't want to kill for nothing. All we want to do is just kill each other. See, Was Moses willing to die and kill for what he believed in? Yes, because we got in a story. Didn't Moses kill 2 Egyptians? Was it 1 or 2? You could correct me on that, but I think it was 2. So Moses literally killed for what he believed. He was willing to die. How many times did he get run to the Pharaoh? That could have been a death sentence right there. Did he tuck tail when he got in front of Pharaoh? Nah. He told Pharaoh and them that they gods was false gods. And that he had the real God to his face. So he was willing to die and kill for what he believed. The Israelites during that time, they were willing to die for what they believed. Because they left Egypt and went into the wilderness. Just imagine that. Just imagine today. Millions of Israelites, blacks, Latinas come together and they leave America. And then they go into the wilderness. Imagine leaving jobs. Leaving your thousands of dollars you make a year. Leaving your SNAP benefits, your food, your link. Leaving your houses that got air conditioning in the summertime and heat in the wintertime to keep you comfortable. You got beds, king size bed, queen size bed, nice fluffy sheets. You got a wash and dryer at your house. You don't have to go down to the laundry mat room no more. That's old school. Everybody got laundry machines at their house. You just go down to your basement, throw your clothes in, come back out, they wash. You ain't never got to leave the comfort of your house. But you got TV, you got an internet. You can put your videos up on YouTube. Your 5 videos you got to get a week. You can make them and you upload them on YouTube using the internet service you got. Those are all luxuries. When you go outside, you got a car. You could sit down in a comfortable luxury leather seat that got heating and cooling, and you got a sunroof, you got a stereo system, you got interior lighting, you know what I mean? Like, your fucking car probably got a lot of horsepower. Like, those are all luxuries. Ain't nobody gonna leave that. When you drive, you ain't on a back dirt road like you in Ghana somewhere. You on a highway, a nice paved concrete street. City, like I said, with stop signs and fucking stoplights, so it's safe for you to travel. If something happened, you could call 911. If you at camp and you bringing out the truth and Vocab Malone come push up on your camp and you get scared, you could call 911 on them. Ain't nobody finna leave that luxury, leave all those luxury things to go in the Grand Canyon, to go in the wilderness, to leave America and go in Mexico in the wilderness somewhere. Set up pitch tents together and pray to our Lord to help us. Ain't nobody gonna do it. Ain't nobody gonna do it, bro. Cause it goes back to what I said. Y'all love America. Y'all love. When I start analyzing things, just sit back sometime and just analyze the state of things. These motherfuckers, they love America. Most of these guys that say they in the truth, they are making money. Their job is to get a camp, recruit members, and make money, and make a YouTube channel to make money. That's what their goal. That's what they're doing it for. For me, I bowed out that because I never cared about that. I could make money without the truth. I never cared about that. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it was like, when I seen that's what everything was about, and that's what everybody was doing, was pretty much starting churches. And then you see doctrines change because you get more members based on what the world thinks. Jesus Christ, that's the world's God. That's Esau's new God. Right? Once I seen that, I bawled out. I said, oh yeah, these guys not real about this. They not real. They playing. This ain't real. When I start researching Abba Bivens and his teachings, and some of those elders that did prophesy that the end was going to come in 2000, I had to ask myself, why would they make that prophecy if they know that the Bible says no man knows the time, the day? It didn't give a date. Why would they prophesy 2000? And I started researching and I was coming up with answers. They were saying that because it's a scare tactic to get members. Man, you better get right. The end coming in 2000. So imagine how many members they were able to recruit. Especially 1999, December, February. Imagine how many members they was able to recruit because everybody was getting ready thinking it was finna end in a month, 2 months. They had countdowns for the days. We got 157 days to the end comes. 156 now. Y'all better get right. Next week at camp, we got 150 days. Man, we only got 150 days left. Y'all better get right. So imagine how many members they were able to recruit. How much money they were able to generate. Because everybody was scared. Motherfuckers, I heard stories of motherfuckers having their book bags and shit. 1999 December, motherfuckers on top of rooftops with book bags ready to go. And then I seen a video online of a whole bunch of Christians in the forest with their hands up because they was ready. They thought that they was going to be raptured. And I said, look, this is the same thing that the Hebrew Israelites do. They ain't no better. That's when I realized that the whole movement was fugazi. You got guys that break out of that. They become Old Testament. They wake up to more of the truth, but they still do the same thing. They still get a camp and make videos and recruit members and make money. They don't do nothing different. The Old Testament guys, they didn't wake up like, nah, we different. We Old Testament. Okay, yeah, we finna do it. We finna move way different. We finna move like they did in Exodus, start putting members together to fucking lead this place. You don't see that. It's just, okay, well, we got the truth. We got something different than what they teaching. And the rejects of what they teaching, or the people that don't agree with what they teaching, y'all can come over here to us. Or you see dudes in the Hebrew Israelite community changing the doctrine to everybody could be saved so they could get more members. That's the same thing from my research. That's the same thing that Abba Bivens did. He was a part of the commandment keepers. They had a doctrine in what they taught, which was Old Testament. He went off. That's what you say when a person don't speak the same thing as your camp do or your doctrine. Y'all say that he a bug out and he went off, right? So Abba Bivens was a bug out from the commandment keepers and he went off. But no, since y'all look up to him, y'all man worshiping him, y'all just say no, he had an awakening. So what's the difference from a guy being a part of a camp, teaching that person that camp's doctrine, and then having an awakening, or him being a bug off and going off? What's the difference? What's the criteria so we can know, okay, this guy's a bug off and he's changing the doctrine, or this guy is he had an awakening? Is the difference just based on who you like or who you look up to? Because I had this conversation with a guy when I was going down to a camp. He was trying to treat me different than how he would treat his elders. I said, look, bro, that's man worshiping, though. You supposed to treat us all the same. We just brothers in the truth, right? If you want to do this to him, why would you do it to me? So it is respecting persons. Oh, Abba Bivens, we love him, so he just had an awakening. Or Apostle Tahar, we love him, so when he changed the doctrine with Cornelius thing, he just had an awakening. Why not say he was bugged out and he went off by changing the doctrine? And then he can't be a hypocrite because you changed the doctrine of what your elders was teaching. And Abba Bivens changed the doctrine of what his elders was thinking. You wanna know why? Because them not teaching Yahweh Shai, or them not teaching Jesus Christ, you couldn't recruit as many members. It's easier to recruit members when you become worldly, when you become Christian-like. So now today what you're seeing is you're seeing these camps, they just becoming more and more and more Christian-like in order to get more and more followers, which equals what? More and more money. You see? If Abba Bivens, if he don't teach Jesus Christ, then he stays with the commandment keepers at a certain level. Even though it's the truth, you might not get to a certain level. But as soon as you start teaching Jesus Christ, now you could convert a lot of Christians to come to the Hebrew Israelite thing. More members, more money. Then you start teaching, okay, anybody could be saved. Guess what that's going to bring? More members, more money. That's why they changed the doctrine. The doctrine goes back, the truth of the Bible is the Old Testament. That's what I learned. That's the truth of the Bible. It's the Old Testament. But people start changing that. They want to add on more because, well, damn, I know we Hebrew Israelites, we different than them. We supposed to be set apart from them. Them are our enemies, the Edomites. But this character, I see how much this character JC got on our people, how much of a hold it got on our people, and our people just love JC so much. So if we put that in our doctrine now, and we say, no, JC, yeah, but he was a Hebrew Israelite who had the bam, and then we mix it with the Hebrew Israelite and the commandment keepers in the Old Testament, then we'll get more followers. We'll get more play. And then they substitute them having more followers and more success and more emotion. And the truth, they substitute that with the Lord's dealing with them. And it's not. And it's not the same thing, but that's what they say. If you ain't got a lot of followers, you ain't getting a lot of views, they gonna say you ain't doing nothing, you ain't moving. And the Lord, that just showed that the Lord ain't dealing with you. That's why whatever doctrine you're teaching is not that big, because the Lord ain't dealing with you. That's what they gonna say. Because you're not getting a lot of viewership. And the ones that is getting a lot of viewership, well, everybody learn from us. Look how much views we getting. So that means the Lord dealing with us. It's never been that way. Because if that's the case, then Yahweh been Yahweh. The Lord was dealing with him. Because he was getting way more views than most of y'all, have way more power and way more members than most of these camps. You see how that works? Then TD Jakes, the Lord is dealing with him because he get 1,000 times more than all the Hebrew Israelite camps combined. He get 1,000 times more viewership than that. But that's what they'll say. Well, we just talking about in the truth, the Hebrew Israelites, the ones that claim Hebrew Israelites, you get movement, you have emotion, so that means the Lord dealing with you. And then the other guys that ain't really getting movement, emotion, that means the Lord ain't dealing with you. It's actually the opposite. The popular things in this world get more viewership. The wicked things in this world get more viewership than actually the righteous things. The righteous things get suppressed and no viewership at all. And that's how it's supposed to be for us. That's what's supposed to force us to come together and actually love each other, because we ain't got that much power. But you guys are power hungry. Let me get this precept. This is Exodus 9 verse 1. It says, then the Lord said unto Moses, go into Pharaoh and tell him, thus saith the Lord God of Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. So these stories are here as examples of how to be righteous. Examples, and I would say it's answers to our questions. So if you ask, how do you get free from bondage? Exodus tells you how to, as a people. So who amongst our people have, I didn't see IUIC leaders, GMS leaders, ISUPK leaders come together and go to the Pharaoh of America, go to Donald Trump or whatever, and say, let my people go, that we may serve the Lord. I haven't seen nobody do that, because they not serious about it. They stuck on the money part. They ain't got past the money part. See, Moses didn't give a fuck about the Egyptian money. These leaders and these camp leaders and stuff, they still care about the Egyptian money. They still care about Roman money, America, Babylon money. They sellouts. But who's gonna bring their camp members together and reach out to the president, however you can, there's ways, and say, look, let my people go? Don't want to. Too scared. And a lot of them agents. That's what I believe. To keep us enslaved here. It says, for if thou refuse to let them go and will hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain. Now the Lord said unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and tell him. Right? The Lord didn't just, okay, Pharaoh and them don't want to let my people go, let me just go ahead and punish them. No, the punishment came after a man of the Lord went to Pharaoh, which is Moses, and told him to let the people go, and said that the Lord said this. Well, we got the Bible, and we already been told by the Lord that they supposed to let us go, and what they doing is wrong. Do somebody got to hear a voice from heavens come out and say, go tell Pharaoh this? No, we already know. We already been told through his words, through his book, through the Spirit. So who's going to bring the camps together and then go to as a leader and go to Pharaoh and say, let my people, the Lord said, let my people go. So then the Lord can finally start judging these people, which the Lord we already been seeing the plagues. Verse 4, and the Lord shall serve between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel. Y'all scared. Y'all gotta have faith that we gonna be taken care of during these times. And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord should do these things in the land. And the Lord did these things on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Israel dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let my people go. Let me go back one chapter. Verse 8, chapter 8, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go into Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite thy borders with frost. Okay, so it's just gonna keep going through the plagues, right? And then it leads to the last one, which is the Passover, right? Let me see, chapter 7. Chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out his land. Why couldn't the Lord just give us the law, statutes, and commandments while we was in Egypt, and then we just start following them in Egypt? Because we were in bondage. Same thing today. The plan was the children of Israel. See, whatever we were doing while we in the land, the Lord didn't judge us on that because we were in captivity. So apply that today. We're in captivity. The Lord's plan was for us to be let go out of the land where we could actually serve him. That's the answer to our problems to this day. We can't build in America, bro. We can't build a camp in America. We can't build a community. We have to leave, because the Esau boot gonna stay on us the whole time we here, bro. They got FBI, they got CIA, they got agents infiltrating camps, agents as the leaders of the camps. They got too much force on us. We can't do it here. We have to leave to be able to follow the Lord. Then you get a time period where you follow the law, statutes, commandments, and you building up in the wilderness to a point where you strong enough now to come back and fight. Because what happened when we left the wilderness? We went back to our land and we had to fight for it, right? During the time of Joshua, we had to fight. Right? So what would that look like today? That would look like us. Today, this is what they would call it today. A breakaway civilization that goes into the wilderness where we're able to develop without the white man stopping our develop. You'll be surprised how fast we'll be able to develop without the white man boot on our neck. How special of a people we are. I mean, just look at the Saudi Arabia, look at Dubai. I forgot the time period, but I don't even think it's been maybe 100 years since Dubai was just a little village in the sand, in the desert, compared to a mass multi-trillion-dollar city that it is today. I don't even think it's been 100 years. I don't even think it took them 100 years to build that. They found oil in the desert, and they people are beyond rich. That quick. We more of a special people than them. So imagine with the Lord being on our side, the technology, the power we could gain by having a breakaway civilization. You wanna know what that sounds like? The movie Black Panther. All Black Panther is a breakaway civilization with advanced technology that was hidden somewhere, I think in Africa, in the forest. But they didn't have the nations of the world there to put a boot on their neck, to suppress them and oppress them. So they are able to develop with their technology to be stronger than everything on the earth. there may be a breakaway civilization somewhere. I'm just not a part of it and don't know. It might be secret. Who knows? We might just not be a part of it. But that's what you're reading in the book Exodus. You're reading the Israelites becoming a breakaway civilization because they was a part of the Egyptian civilization. They broke away from that and they went into the wilderness. Then they spent years in the wilderness doing what? Developing, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, learning it, developing, being unified, becoming a strong people, strong enough to the point where, because when they came out of Egypt, they wasn't that strong. But when they went back into the land of Israel, during the time of Joshua, they were strong enough to go to war and conquer these cities. So that looked like a breakaway civilization leaving America, developing, coming back to the land of Israel and taking over Israel, which means you're going to have to go to war with the Israelis and you're going to have to go to war with America to do that. That's what it looked like in modern day. That's the answer to how we get free in modern day. Let's keep reading. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. See, once we go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go, we want to leave. We are the Hebrew Israelites. We want sovereignty in our own land. We want to leave. That's going to harden. See, that's what you're going to call the what's the tabernacle, the house of King David. That's what that's going to look like. That's going to harden Trump's heart. He ain't going to let us go. But then read verse 3 again. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. The Lord waiting on us to do it. When we do that, then that's when the Lord going to start multiplying the signs and wonders and the plagues as we reading. You know, what's that? Hosea 5:15. The Lord waiting on us. What's that? Daniel 2? When it says the saints of the Most High should take the kingdom. See, we gonna take the kingdom. Y'all looking for like a people are looking for like a Harry Potter magic book. Like magic's just gonna happen. It's not gonna happen that way. It's gonna look kind of like magic because of the technology, but the technology could be explained. Maybe we can't explain it as humans, but the Lord could explain it. It's technology that the Lord is gonna give us. I don't know. Maybe the time's gonna come when this AI stuff come. Maybe that AI is actually technology from the Lord that he's gonna give us the keys to. We don't know. We gotta see. That's gonna lead us to getting power to fight. But it's gonna be Israelites that's gonna come together, and the Israelites here that's on earth, we gonna take the kingdom, man. We gonna get power. Maybe Israelites, I'm speaking in the worldly sense, in a biblical sense, maybe the angels, which they say is a advanced civilization, may come back and help fight with us. But we gonna be on the battlefield, man, and we gonna get power. They might come back and give us technology and power and then fight with us. Right, now let's keep on verse 4. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out the land of Egypt by great judgment. So that's how we get free from America. When we stand up and we come together and unify together, we don't have to be thinking about the law, statutes, commandments is important. We supposed to follow them to the best of our ability. But we can't sit here and like have camp doctrine. Oh, since you don't believe that this law mean the same thing as me, we gonna split up and be enemies. We not supposed to be doing that. We supposed to be coming together. Okay, you think that the Sabbath day is on Saturday. I think that it's based on the new moon. That's a difference in doctrine of what we think. But we both still believe we got to keep a Sabbath day. You see what I'm saying? So we can still come together. Because the goal right now and the focus right now is unifying, coming together, going to Pharaoh, telling him to let us go. And then once we're in the wilderness, we would get the laws and how exactly you supposed to follow them. And then with us doing that, that's what's going to bring the judgment. We don't see the judgment really on America right now. Every year they say this the year. It's not the year because we ain't did what we supposed to do yet. We make it the year. That's why there is no time or date that this is going to happen. It's based on whenever the fuck we wake up and do it. The kingdom is within us. It's based on whenever we do it. Gather yourselves together. Says that in what's that? Zacharias. Gather yourselves together. That is waiting on us. Matter of fact, let me get that in Ezekiel 20. So this is Ezekiel 20, and you should read this whole chapter because it's speaking about everything I'm talking about, and it's referring back to the old Egypt, but it's talking about it's referring back to Egypt, and it's referring back to the old wilderness, but it's still talking about future wilderness. But it's pretty much Ezekiel 20 is saying, look, the future wilderness is going to happen the exact same way it happened in the old wilderness during the time of Exodus, during the time of Moses. That's what Ezekiel 20 is telling you. So everything I'm saying ain't wrong. All I'm doing is saying, look, this is what the Israelites did to get free in Egypt, and that's the same thing that we have to do today. And that's what Ezekiel 20 is backing up and saying. Matter of fact, let's just skip through it a little bit. Ezekiel 20. Here, I'm just going to jump. Verse 17, nevertheless, my eyes spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness, right? But I said unto the children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourself with idols. I am the Lord your God, walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. So it's the same thing right now. We in Babylon, we in Egypt, we in America right now. You following the idols because you're American, just like we would have been Egyptian citizens during that time. We were Israelites, but we would have been Egyptian citizens. So we're American citizens, and we have these idols. Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day. You have those things today, whether you following or not. You still an American. So it's gonna come a time where we gonna go in the wilderness, and the Lord gonna be like, look, don't follow those things no more. Follow the Lord. That's when the law, statutes, and commandments is gonna be enforced. And I'm gonna get to the point and show you. Verse 19, I am the Lord your God, walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. And hallow thy Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God, right? Now, notwithstanding the children rebel against me, they walk not in my statutes, right? Because we know about the golden calf and everything in the wilderness, right? So I'm just kind of jumping through. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought my namesake, that it shall not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I have brought them forth. Right? So the Lord still dealt with us, but here, let me get straight to the point. Verse 30, wherefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord of God, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? For when ye offer your gifts, no, let me get straight to the point. Sorry. Right here, verse 33. As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye were scattered. So this is future prophecy. With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pled with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, say the Lord. So that verse 36 tells us that this is future prophecy, because it says like I pled with your fathers. So that was in the past. It's not talking about old Egypt when we went to the wilderness. That's in the past, because that was during the time of our fathers. So he said, look, it's going to happen again just like that. Now, understand, it's going to happen again just like that. And the Lord's going to plead with us again. That's why it says, like as I pled with your fathers in the wilderness. It's saying, the Lord's saying, look, he's going to do it again. He's going to take us out from America, bring us into the wilderness, and he's going to plead with us. And this is going to show you how he's going to plead with us. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. What's the bond of the covenant? The law, statutes, and commandments is the covenant. It's you keep the law, statutes, commandments, you're going to be blessed. If you don't keep the law, statutes, commandments, you're going to be cursed. That's the bond, right? And the Lord said he's going to cause us to pass under the rod. What's the rod for? Correction. Like, you know, if you got a rod, you got a belt. What do you got that for your children? To correct them when they do wrong. For what? Not following your laws. So the Lord is a father over us. We got to follow his laws. If not, he gonna get the rod out and whoop us the same way you do in your house, right? So he would cause us to pass under the rod, meaning he's gonna correct us. There in the wilderness, it's gonna be the time for correction. No, you're wrong on this. No, the Sabbath is this. The Sabbath is on this day. The Sabbath is based upon this. That's when all our answers are going to, all our questions are going to be answered. Do we got to keep the Sabbath? Yes or no? That's going to be answered in the wilderness, right? Do we, can a man have multiple wives? Yes or no? That's going to be answered in the wilderness. Could the nations be saved? Yes or no? That's all going to be answered in the wilderness. He's going to cause us to pass under the rod. He's going to correct us on everything that we think, right? And then now watch this. This is very interesting, right? Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels. So that tells us in the wilderness, when the Lord takes us in the wilderness, there's going to be people rebelling. This ain't everybody, when they think of rebels, see, everybody think they the chosen one, they the ones to make it. When you think of rebels, this ain't no little nigga that just came in the truth for 3 months that rebelling against your doctrine that you teaching in the wilderness. That's not him. He gonna get down whatever the Lord say get down, because he don't really know much. This is talking about those stubborn old leaders, the old washed up bottles, those old man that's in their ways. That's gonna rebel. They gonna rebel against the Lord in the wilderness. You tell them that, yeah, man can have multiple wives. They might have purple on. They might be like, no, man can't have multiple wives, and they might rebel. You gonna have a woman that's going, oh, I don't want my man to have multiple wives. No, that's not right. I follow the teachings of IUIC. You can't have multiple wives. That's disgusting. They gonna rebel against what the Lord said, because it's gonna offend them, and they gonna be put to death. You gonna have brothers that's gonna be like, no, we ain't got to unify with the camps. They gonna rebel against the Lord. They gonna be put to death. You gonna have brothers that, man, all type of different folly and doctrines, bro. All type of different folly. Oh no, my leader is the top leader. No, my leader, and then the Lord might set up order, and your leader might be wicked. So let's just say you following a man that's you in a camp, and you following a leader of that camp, a man, right? Let's just say the Lord put him to death. Are you going to follow the Lord? If the Lord say, no, he wicked, put him to death, he a rebel. Are you going to follow the Lord, or are you going to go with him? Are you going to say, no, I still believe that he is the actual man and the setup and the leader and the top guy in Israel, and the Lord just put him to death, so you going to go with him? Or are you going to follow the Lord and say, oh, well, yeah, he was wicked? See, that's when it's going to get interesting, when we get in that wilderness. That's when it's going to get real in the wilderness. Right now, y'all all playing for money. But when we get in that wilderness, that's when you got to look at your brother face to face. You can't get offended, go talk shit online, and talk shit online for 2-3 years and never see the dude face to face and just talk shit about him because you with a camp. You can't do that. Now you got to stand right there as a man and talk face to face and work out your fucking problems. You can't sit there and get online and make up a whole lie like they did on me and say, oh no, we said this, oh no, we said that. No, you got to stand there face. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about the incident that happened. No, you got to stand there face to face, and you got to reconcile, and you got to talk about what happened, bring out the facts and the proof as a man. And if you wrong, you got to reconcile. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they feel like they in a higher position because they got a position at a camp. So they don't, they become prideful. They don't want to apologize to you. They become prideful. Because who are you? Yeah, we gonna see in the wilderness. But watch this. And them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye should know that I am the Lord. Right? It was many men that didn't enter into the land of Israel during the time of Joshua. So that's all gonna happen again. So how do we get free from America? By doing this. Not the Israelites in Egypt that were in bondage. They didn't go set up camps on every corner of the Egyptian. You know, they got a camp on all 4 sides. How many sides the pyramid got? Well, all corners of the pyramid. They got a camp on every corner. Like, I ain't talking about sides. I'm talking about like the corners. They got a corner on every corner. There's a camp set up. The Israelites, they didn't do that. The goal was to leave to separate first, and then the laws came in, as we just read in Ezekiel. They separated, they left, they went into the wilderness. Then that's when they were caused to pass under the rod, meaning the correction on following the laws came. We teach the laws, we teach you supposed to follow them to the best of your ability, but the correction and the rod comes in the wilderness. But we have to get to the wilderness first. That's our, right now, our goal. See, because that's what guys say. They say, well, how can we come together if we got different doctrines? And I had to ask myself that. And the answer I came up to was, we supposed to put aside our doctrines, our feelings, because doctrines is based on feeling, on what you feel, because you can't prove none of it. So doctrines really just go off what you feel it means. We supposed to put aside our feelings, put aside our doctrine, and we supposed to unite on just foundational things. And those foundational things, that we are Hebrew Israelites, so that's the reason why we need to unite with each other, and we need to come together, and we have the same Lord, and we supposed to lead. That's our focus right now. Uniting, because we're Hebrew Israelites, and leaving. Once we unite and we leave, because we got the same God and we are Hebrew Israelites, once we unite and leave, then that's when the correction of doctrine, the correction of the law, statutes, and commandments happen in the wilderness. Y'all got it fucked up, backed up. Y'all think that we supposed to sit here and spar and fight on the highways and byways about the doctrine until one camp rises higher than the other camps, and everybody wake up and smell the coffee and go to that camp. It's never going to happen like that, because we're still in America, and Esau is infiltrating the camps with agents to keep the camps fighting against each other, to keep us what? Distracted and divided. And it's working well. Esau don't fear. That's why he's not doing nothing about no camps being on the highways and byways. He don't care about it because he don't fear it. He already infiltrated it. Esau cares and fears the same thing that Pharaoh feared in Egypt. He fears the exact same thing that Pharaoh feared in Egypt. The Israelites uniting together and leaving. That's what they fear. Because if we unite together and leave, that creates a future enemy for them, and that fucks up their economy. That takes our money, that takes our service, that takes our it's really off our backs of our service, right? Money is just a system, a fiat system, but it's really off the backs of our service. They need us working these restaurants. They need us driving trucks, delivering product. That's what keeps their system going, to keep them in power. But you take us out the way, then the stock market's going to collapse, because they need us. We some of the biggest consumers. All the businesses and companies are going to go bankrupt. The banks are going to go bankrupt because they need us. If you take us out and you put us in the wilderness, this whole system goes crashing down damn near overnight. And they know that, and they fear that, and that's the reason why I know that they got agents upon a part of the camps, controlling these camps, keeping us divided. Because if we unite on the fact that we're Israelites and we got the same God, and that we need to leave, then their whole system goes down. That's what they fear. With that, I'm going to say, salvation to the elect. Shalom.